The college football experience, Sun Belt and Totals Locks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. They just introduced college football best ball. Get on over there. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Football experience, Sun Belt Conference and AAC, the American Athletic Conference win totals locks episode, folks. Yes, we only have a few more conferences to break down. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there. We're breaking down all 134 team previews. We just dropped our week 0 preview picks and college football 12-team playoff bracket episode. Go check it all out. All right. And now we get to the Sun Belt and AAC. And then on Friday, we will finish things off. Friday night, we will have our MAC and Conference USA win total locks episodes. And that will put a bow on pretty much everything. YouTube.com/the college football experience, folks. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
$1 million smile is correct because football is right around the corner. Can't wait. You know I love the AAC. All right. Some say it's a better conference than the Sun Belt. NC Nick's Sun Belt. But that's the battle. That's the battle. That's the new battle. It's Sun Belt against AAC. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, PattyC in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get it going.
Don't you dare say
a conference.
The American
say what
in the Sun Belt.
Well, I mean, I think it's a debate many college football fans are having. And after week 1, when Biff Poggi puts it on JMU, people will know that answer after that. We are also joined by third man in the boot, the DFS god himself. Remember, Friday, we are doing an episode early in that morning on the West. I think 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Week 0 DFS, folks. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lot giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, guys?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. A couple years ago when Cincinnati was in the AAC, PattyC was a big AAC guy.
A lot has changed.
And back then, JMU was in the CAA, still not winning national championships, right? Well, what a couple years could do.
That's right. Hey, we're gonna be in the playoff this year. That's the sleeper that everyone's sleeping on. That's the real sleeper.
Yes,
sure it is.
I will say this, and I know we got to get to these locks. There's a lot of news You got QR codes on the back of Oklahoma State helmets. You see that?
I didn't really completely understand it. What's the QR code do?
You see a great play from an Oklahoma State player, you pause it, and you can send them money with the QR code there.
I did see Twitter handles on the back of the Colorado players' practice jerseys.
If they have a bad play, can you fucking like tweet at them and say they suck dick or something?
Can you demand money?
refund.
I think what is it? Deion Jr. having a hard enough time with that. What is he, like $10 million in debt? I don't know if he was ever a Colorado player, but it's close enough.
Yeah, that's why Deion won't talk to CBS though.
Oh yeah, they called him out on that.
I want to know if Alan Bowman throws a touchdown and you throw $50 his way, and then the next drive he throws a pick. I want that $50 back.
It should be conditional.
Does it go both ways?
That should be. It should be. But yeah, no, that's the Deion thing. A lot of people were shitting on Deion because they said it's because these coach rankings came out and they had Deion second to last in the Big 12, right?
That wasn't it, huh?
No, it was the article they did on his son where they claimed bankruptcy when he said it was bullshit. So he said, I'm not talking to CBS because of that. See, you gotta pay attention to this stuff. You got to pay attention to this stuff.
Yeah. Breaking news. Don't trust the media. College football or otherwise.
That's true.
They are putting a smear campaign on his ass. I will say that. I have noticed that. Yeah.
There's a bunch of news that happened. We had Malik Murphy named the starting quarterback at Duke. I guess no surprise there.
Also,
had
Patrick Mahomes named the starting quarterback at the Chiefs. FYI.
How about this? Rutgers star linebacker Mo Torre out for the year, torn ACL. General Booty, there we go. Named the starting quarterback of the ULM Warhawks. Shout out to Noah Beanick on the boards.
He does look like a general booty, not a specific. He looks very general,
He looks generic. Like he gets general booty. It looks like he gets all the booty. Look at that fucking $1 million haircut there. Come on.
It makes all the girls in Monroe, Louisiana wet.
All 12 of them.
Sam Levitt was named the starting quarterback over Jeff Sims at Arizona State. Are you surprised by that, NC Nick?
No, smart. Sims is awful.
Wazoo named John Mateer the starting quarterback over Zevi Ekars. Then I said the Rutgers Mo Torre, their star linebacker, out for the season. Lenora Sellers, the quarterback of South Carolina, freshman, named starting quarterback.
Great spectacles.
And then Ben Finley, an old what? He's related to Ryan Finley, an old Pussy Pack quarterback. He is the starting quarterback of the Akron Zips. How do you feel about that, NC Nick?
Good.
How about this one?
There we go. There he is.
Damn, the rec specs are dominant.
What do we got loading up here? For Lenora Sellers, I'm behind. My computer's still computing. That is a great look,
dude. And
absolute great look.
Yeah.
True freshman too, right?
True. Yeah, I think true freshman, right? Or redshirt freshman, one of the two. Well, how about the number one recruit in the nation last year? Number one overall recruit in the nation, Malachi Nelson, goes to USC. Kayla Williams is playing. Okay, you go to Miller Moss in the bowl game. You know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to take some money from Boise State. But then Maddox Madsen, the Mad Dog, beats him out. A 3-star that only had an offer from New Mexico and Boise State beats the number one recruit in the nation out. Either that what does that really mean, NC Nick? Are we worried about Boise now?
Well, I think that's a question to PattyC, who loves, stars by names. Me and you don't really give a shit about that, but PattyC loves a good old 5-star. What's your breakdown on that, Patty?
Well, my breakdown on that is that Colby has identified this properly in the past, ad nauseum, that the quarterback position in general is very hard, apparently, for these recruiting services to project. So, because they are always missing. And the fact that this guy has transferred and then been benched for an unknown quarterback, despite being, like Colby said, the number one quarterback in the nation coming out of last year, says they whiffed on that one.
To be fair, it's also very hard for NFL scouts to get quarterbacks right.
Yeah.
Because they keep on swinging and missing as well. So,
For whatever reason, the quarterback position is very hard to figure out.
Well, and I would say I'm just paranoid on all that shit. I would love to have conversations. When I saw Cormani McClain, a 5-star, Deion signed him and he instantly go to a 4-star. That happened to somebody else this season from Missouri, I think. Someone from Missouri
like every single year.
Yeah,
I
it
wonder,
makes me a skeptic. This is a part of a propaganda agenda to help sell your season tickets, to help sell TV ratings.
Well, the fact that 24/7 has been an affiliate of CBS, which
CBS owns them. CBS owns them.
It's had SEC contract rights forever. It's like
maybe a little bit of a bias.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah,
I will say though that the intangibles at the quarterback position are a far huger part of what makes that position work. And so
let's talk about who are the best quarterbacks in the NFL? Josh Allen, Wyoming, Mahomes, Texas Tech, and the highest paid one is Jordan Love from Utah State.
Yeah.
Wow, not exactly blue blood.
Just saying.
You talk about Jalen Hurts, who Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't even know who are the top quarterbacks now.
Ever since they did that cockanimi kickoff, I haven't watched a game.
Jared Goff.
He's from Cal. Yeah, Jeff. What was he? Tedford guy?
Lamar Jackson, Louisville, not a blue blood.
All right, so now we're starting to name ACC guys.
Folks, we're gonna dive in.
Andrew Luck, ACC legend.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's still backpacking legend. Yeah.
There we go.
Folks, look, we want to get to our win totals here, but I want to tell you that you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And look, everything in the merch store is 10% off with the promo code football. So get on over there, get yourself a Pick Done DT shirt. Plus, college football kicks off this week. Go listen to our Week 0 preview picks and college football playoff projection episode, and also tune into the Sports Gambling Podcast as well for the Week 0 picks and all of your favorite futures. So hop on over there. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. Look at that. Those are the top. Those are so you do have Ohio State, LSU is but I thought that Jordan Love just signed the highest contract in the league, but I don't know. Maybe did Burrow re-up? Either way,
Trevor Lawrence, another ACC legend.
That's true. So you do have he was like the top recruit, but I don't think Burrow was a top recruit, right?
Probably not. Probably like a 4-star. Yeah.
So Deshaun Watson was. There's a few
produce quarterbacks. That's true.
Well, now that they added Stanford and Cal too, I mean, you got John Elway, Jim Plunkett, and look, let me tell you, the ACC. I can tell by the way the Olympics were going on that they're going to honor John Elway's tenure.
We got all these golds.
That's right.
Here we are. Let's get to it. Win totals. Let's start. First off, what do you think of this debate of the AAC against the Sun Belt? And someone asked me this the other day. I think it was Sean Stacking the Money Green. Colby, what's the team that's going to get to the 12-team playoff? And I said, well, the Mountain West should. What conference should have the inside track? And I said the Mountain West should, but I don't think it will be, because we've seen this bias against the West Coast for so long. And like you look at the College Football Playoff Committee, and like 80% of them live on the East Coast. They staying up for that Air Force Wyoming game on Friday night? I don't think so. Right? I think the AAC's track, unless it's Liberty that goes undefeated, but Sunbelt right there too. I mean, Boise's, in my opinion, like Boise is the odds-on favorite right now. It should be the Mountain West. I think there's a big gap, but how about, is there a gap between the AAC and Sunbelt? And if so, how big is it, NC Nick?
Well, I think it's two conferences kind of in flux right now. There's been a lot of coaching changes, a lot of new quarterbacks. The Sun Belt, I think their strongest years were probably the last 2 years. I think this year is going to dip down a little bit. I mean, just look at Troy and South Alabama, the two teams that have pretty much been the best teams in the West the last couple of years. Brand new head coaches. They're like returning starters on both teams is like less than 5 or 6 total. JMU on the East, they have a brand new head coach. They have a total new roster. Sunbelt's kind of a funky conference this year. I'm not sure what to expect with a lot of it. And you could almost say the same thing about the AAC. SMU now gone after losing 4 teams the year before. Tulane, brand new head coach. UTSA, no more Frank Captain Harris. So I think both conferences are going to be very interesting this year because there's been a lot of change. I think both conferences are probably a little bit down, which makes what you said about the Mountain West even more true, is that they're the strongest conference G5 right now.
Yeah, I really hope, and I say this as an ECU fan, and they're in the AAC. I really hope they. I think the Mountain West, but the Mountain West has a shit ton of new coaches. But
it does, yeah.
But I still think it's the best Group of 5 conference by a decent amount right now, especially with that schedule tie into Oregon State and Washington State.
Easily.
Now, I would say like two years ago, maybe not so much. I mean, when
I agree.
Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston were in the AAC, and when the Sun Belt was rolling a little bit more, I think it was a lot closer. Yeah.
Well, there's no Boise in the AAC. I know Memphis fans will say they beat Boise last year. That's true. They did in a very close game at the Liberty Bowl. There's also
so right now there's not a Boise. Because you could argue Cincinnati a couple years ago made it to the playoffs.
Well, no, but I'm saying Boise, Cincinnati was. Does that count though? Were they ever as good as Boise? Like, that year, yes.
They were.
But I'm saying, but
maybe
I'm saying
not
like,
as long of. Okay.
For 2 years they were, because they should have beaten Georgia the year before.
Agreed. But my point is Boise's been like 25 years of kind of dominance in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
They haven't had a program like Boise. Yes, to answer your question.
It makes for an interesting. So with Sunbelt and AAC, you think it's a pretty close gap, or what do you think, guys? And PattyC?
Well, look, I would have said the Sunbelt was kind of definitively better, although Tulane was a hell of a program last year. Would have liked to have seen Pratt healthy the whole year, but. I still think the Sun Belt was a better conference last year. However, if I'm tipping my hand a little bit here, I have 7 of the 14 teams in the AAC on the over, 7 on the under. I have 10 of the 14 teams in the Sun Belt on the under, only 4 on the over. So I think there's going to be regression in the Sun Belt this year.
I think the AAC is better this year.
I do too.
There's really only 2 teams I feel really good about in the Sun Belt to be like good teams, and then it's a crapshoot.
I would agree. We'll break it all down, folks. I want to tell you before we give away our first locks for the AAC. So that's what we're going to lead off with. He answered the question. We're going to go with the AAC first. I want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. Or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Yes, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. They got college football best ball. Get on over there. And don't forget, Friday we got a DFS episode where we talking some, value plays in the fantasy world. Me and NC Nick on the college football front for week 0. So get on over there, sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yes, if you don't have a trip booked for Vegas yet before football season, get out there this weekend. The Ultimate Contest weekend is happening. It's a great time to go out. You can hang with Stacking the Money Green and Real Money Kramer, as well as CJ Sullivan, the bet detective from the Bottom Line Bombs, and Stacking the Money Green and Kramer from Sports Gambling Podcast. Get on out there. They got open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world. Week 0 is happening August 22nd to August 24th. Get over there and look. If you need a promo code, save you 15% off. SGP15 will get you 50% off your hotel room there. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. And you'll get a free hat, too. Who doesn't want a free hat? Hop on over there. Back talking AAC Sunbelt win totals. Well, guys, let's just get to the elephant in the room here. Not only is East Carolina, and look, pardon me for not having, my computer's going incredibly slow right now, so I cannot pull up the playoff odds to make the playoffs. But I believe the East Carolina Pirates will nail the over. And if you listen to our Phil Steele interview, Phil Steele likes our bet for them to make the playoffs. He thinks the AAC will get the team from the playoffs, and he thinks they could play in the championship game. And if they're in the championship game, he thinks there's a decent shot they could be hosting the championship game. And Vegas, I will lock up the over on the East Carolina Pirates. They just named Jake Garcia, PattyC's boy, starting quarterback. I think they have the clear best defense in this conference.
Wow, they did. Wait, I thought they had another quarterback lined up there.
No, they have Hauser too. They have two good quarterbacks.
Plus 10,000 to make the college football playoff.
Yes, thank you. They're a great play, and if you like, as Phil Steele said, if you didn't listen to that episode, I think it's well said that like their defense was really good, and they were on the field the entire game last season, and he thinks they're even better this year. Mike Houston does, and then really, if they could just move the ball a tiny bit, which Mason Garcia, who was another high recruit, actually the highest recruit in ECU history, he sucked, and now he's at Austin Peay. So they brought in another Garcia, Jake Garcia, big-time recruit at Miami originally, then he was at Missouri last season. But him and Caden Hauser, to me, are two serviceable quarterbacks. The running back room is deep. They also brought in Florida State wide receiver Winston Wright, Oregon tight end Casey Kelly, and they are solid on the line of scrimmage to me. Offensive, defensive line, I think that's our biggest strength. If I had to say, and we have a corner that was ranked the number 14th pick in the draft right now. So
I'm with you. I'm gonna lock that up as well.
PattyC, your chance to jump on these Pirates on the over?
Let me see what I had here. I did lock them. Yeah, I locked them as well.
All right.
What is that win total at exactly right now? Because these things change. I have a sheet from a couple days ago, so my computer, if I upload the other window,
as of a couple days ago, it was 6. It was over under 6 and minus 140 on the over. Let me see if there's been a change to that. No, okay, over 6 minus 140, under 6 plus 120. I like the over. I'm willing to pay that juice also because, like you said, they're gonna have a much better quarterback play this year. They can't have as bad of quarterback play as they had last year.
Well, they don't even need like good quarterback play. If it's just average.
Yeah,
the run game is good and the defense is nasty.
Right. 14 returning starters, and really schedule. It's all about the schedule for me. For the first time ever in my memory, East Carolina is not playing a P4, a major conference opponent in the out of conference. It's still a challenging out of conference, but every game is winnable. They're probably at least going to go 2-2, if not better. In conference, of the top 5 teams, odds wise to win the American Conference, they only play one of them, UTSA, and it's at home. So they miss out on Memphis, they miss out on Tulane, they miss out on USF, they miss out on Rice. I mean, absolutely huge. So schedule lines up, returning experience lines up, better quarterback play, maybe the best defense in the conference. ECU is going to go over.
Here's part of the reason why I love it too. The playoff play. They get to play App State and Liberty. And okay, App State's at ECU. Remember, ECU was beating App State at halftime before App State rallied and put it on them in the 4th in Boone last year. That's one where if App State wins the Sun Belt, that's a feather in your cap. And then I know it's at Liberty and that place is lit, but I do think that defense is going to give that offense some fits. Like I do think like ECU's defense will be able to bang with. If anything, I kind of think Liberty's offense is kind of a finesse offense. I think those are winnable games. Like I'm not going to say they're going to go 12-0, but I'm saying like you can't just like I think people just automatically have Liberty just whooping up on ECU. I think ECU can fuck with them.
It's not at Michigan like last year where it was a guaranteed loss.
Yeah,
there's no guaranteed loss on the schedule, and that's
thing. Sam Houston State almost beat Liberty last season. They're at the 2-yard line and got stopped. I think ECU can play, but those are gigantic games. There's 3 games in a row: App State, Liberty, and UTSA. 2 of those are in Greenville.
Right.
You don't even got to win them all to me to be. Actually, I mean, shit. I mean, I guess the App State and Liberty games, in a way, you could say they don't matter that much in one way because you could still win the AAC if you beat UTSA. But I think they matter because those are teams that are going to probably win their conference. So
well, if your goal is to make the college football playoff, then it does matter. If your goal is just to win the AAC, I mean, you might, an 8-4 team might win the AAC. So
yeah. Love the conference odds too. What's up, PattyC?
I'll say this. I mean, if they only lost during a 2-10 season compared to App State's 9-5 season on the road to App State by 15 last year, assuming ECU reverts back to the program they were before last year, which was a 7-8 win team the previous 2 years, then ECU, I mean, that game is a huge game. The fact that it's in Dowdy-Ficklen, they need to win one of those 2 games against App State Liberty to be playoff contenders. Obviously, I think they probably need to win both. But I agree with you. And I even think Army, who a team I'm high on, they get the bye before going up to West Point that week. The beginning of their schedule is critical with the 3 straight games of App State, Liberty, and UTSA, but they get 2 of those at home. Yeah, I feel like you're right. And the number is sitting there at, what do we say it was?
Even 6.
And even 6. Yeah, smash that over.
It's also plus 1,800 for ECU to win the AAC.
Well,
Look,
and that's a great play because they'll be hosting.
Yeah, I mean, true. A lot of this might sound crazy for a team that went, 2-10 last year, right?
Yeah.
So I think some people may be hearing this like, what are you guys are absolutely insane. But ECU is a solid football program. They're usually better than 2-10. That was the aberration. They're going to storm back this year and at least be 8-4.
Wow.
All right. That's I feel really good about it, man. Like if you watched, I see the thing is if you just look, if you didn't watch ECU's games, now it was incredibly frustrating last season. Might have been more frustrating than even like the some of the years we were horrible under what's his name from Duke.
Scotty Montgomery, you forgot the name?
Well,
he's put him out of his head.
My point is that like last season, like I mean, we were beating Marshall the entire game, and then it's like, to what they throw a wide receiver pass to take the lead, and then 2 pick sixes in a row. So it looks like this crazy win. Like we were up for like 3.5 quarters, and then the App State game, we're up at halftime. Now App State did what they did. I'm not saying ECU was the better team. I'm just saying they were right there, though. ECU was right there to get it, and they just couldn't perform at the quarterback spot.
Real quick,
I just think it's a good spot.
I know we got to move on from this, but what happened? Mike Houston, 4-8 in year 1, 3-6 in year 2 during COVID. I obviously kind of throw that away, but stepped up 7-5, 8-5. We know he had to completely repair the line last year. 2-10. You mentioned it was the aberration. You said the quarterback play was the problem. Is that it, or what else happened?
I think they whiffed on Mason Garcia.
Yeah. Quarterback problem, and then kicking problems. Special teams and quarterback play, I would say.
Houston's a better coach
but,
than that. I'm with you on the over. Lock.
And to Durko's point in the chat, if you can get it for over 6.5 at -110, yes.
Yeah, get on over that. Jump on that, Durko. NC Nick, it goes to you. AAC totals right now.
All right. I like Tulsa over 4.5. They won 4 games last year in Kevin Wilson's first year. I think Kevin Wilson's a very good football coach. He did a good job at Indiana, which was a very hard place to win. They have 8 returning starters on offense. I think this offense is going to fly. Kirk Francis was a true freshman that didn't start a game until November. His first 3 games in college, he threw for 345 yards against Tulane, 250 and 3 touchdowns against North Texas, almost 302 touchdowns against a very good ECU defense. This guy is ready to step in here. And, for me, I think they're going to get at least 2 wins in the out-of-conference schedule. They get Temple in conference, which is always a bonus. Tulsa is going to do things this year. I
think they're going to get ECU on that. We got to go to H.A. Chapman in the final couple games of the season. I'm with you. It's one of my locks, too. Steve Spurrier Jr., the OC. And let me tell you, that offense was starting to click. I also think it's that weird game. It's like the one spot on the map where you're just like, it's just a far trip for everybody. You know what I mean?
It's not like it's a crazy environment, but it's almost like going to Pitt or something, or going to BC. It's that kind of like dead environment in the middle of nowhere. It's tough there. And There you go.
I'll join you on that. Give me the over on Tulsa. We're agreeing too much. PattyC, you on the Golden Hurricane train?
I am on the over. I'm not locking. Spurrier aside, that we've all discussed Kevin Wilson and his chops as an offensive coach. Year 2 for him here. You got to figure Tulsa's going to be improving. A favorable schedule too. 4.5 wins seems very doable. I am on the over, but it is a double lock for right now.
All right, that works. Well, PattyC, it jumps to you then. Where are you going? Where are you taking us?
All right. Oh, that's a good one. I'm going Tulane on the over. 7.5 wins. Seems ridiculous for a team that has been in the conference championship for 3 straight years. Beat USC 2 years ago in the Sugar Bowl, was it? Look, this is
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl. I don't care if they have lost their head coach. There is still a ton of talent there. Yes, there is some turnover, but they brought in a great head coach as well. So I do think that Tulane is really the schedule's favorable. I think they're in a position to maybe make the college football playoff, but I do have Boise making the college playoff over them. But they are really second place in my book. So 7.5 is a lock for me.
7.5. I agree. I'll lock up Tulane on the over as well. I just think they're too talented. I thought they did a great job in the portal. And the more you dive into Summerall, you think he's a fucking great coach. I give them an edge on Thanksgiving against Memphis there, hosting Memphis. Then you look at the other games. Okay, they can lose to Oklahoma and Kansas State, but they are hosting Kansas State. Watch out. Like, Avery Johnson still got to prove it to me. And then the roads, really all their tough games in conference. South Florida's got to come there, Rice, who I think is going to be probably a bowl team's got to come there. And then Memphis. So it's a good, what's your toughest road game in conference? You get all losing teams. UAB, I'm not ready to say UAB is going to be a bowl team. I'm not ready. I'm not high on North Texas. Navy, maybe they can make a bowl, but I'm just not there. Now, that could be a sneaky game. Charlotte Biff Poggi, I think that's the one that could give them a game, but I still think they're too talented. Getting Mario Williams, getting Ty Thompson, there's too many good players they got in the
5
portal.
losses for a team that's been this good. Ridiculous. I think there's a 50-50 chance that they beat Kansas State in New Orleans. They could be 11-1 again.
You guys are probably right here, but I'm not going to go along with you. I just want to see the new coach and the new quarterback. And they lost a lot. Colby kept on saying Fritz, brought a lot of that roster with him to Houston. You guys are probably right, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to stay away, see how the first year head coach does.
All righty.
Well, bring a lot with him.
He brought his team from Troy, pretty much like his best players from Troy. I feel like for the most part came with him, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I want to say he brought his top corner and safety and defensive end.
It's funny. Most of the plays in this conference are like the middle of the pack teams. I'm not really touching the top teams because it's almost a little bit like the Sun Belt where the top teams have gone over some turnover here. I'm not quite sure what to expect. I think the top of the AAC is not as far apart from the middle as it was a year or two ago.
Yeah, I would agree, folks. Look, we're going to get to our next play, but I want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? Well, SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds and get predictions for betting on any money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Yes, build your own model. Copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you could just press build and build your own one, right? A model for you, and Rhythm will give you predictions for every game and player prop as well. It's absolutely fantastic, folks. Simplify your betting process. Look, college football kicks off this Saturday. I've been using Rhythm for golf, WNBA all summer. I just build my my models so I can actually know what to bet on in some of these random games throughout the season. So, I've never been more excited for a Delaware State Hornet football game in all my life, thanks to Rhythm. All right, so get on over there. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster, even easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So take that guesswork out. It works for college football as well. You're going to go to Yeoman Stadium and catch Tulane. Get on over there and pull out the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use that promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account. CFBX is the promo code. $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, back on college experience. It jumps back to me. NC Nick, my computer might blow up. Has the Charlotte line moved any?
I'm also on Charlotte here. If we're looking at wins currently over at DK, we are looking at Charlotte over 3.5 minus 125. Still looking good. I'm locking it with you.
Lock. Biff Poggi, and this is what's great is you like Rice passes the hell out of the ball. South Florida passes the hell out of the ball. Memphis passes the hell out of the ball. Tulsa passes the hell out of the ball. You go one by one. I'm forgetting some too. Temple passes the hell out of the ball. There's not many teams that still bang. You got Army coming in that bangs, right? And even they were passing the ball last season, but they're going back to their running ways. Right? Army, Navy, ECU, Charlotte. I feel like those are like the real running teams in this conference. I think that's an advantage. I think Biff Poggi in year 2, I was impressed by year 1. And looking at what he brings in, Max Brown, the quarterback from Florida. He brings in CJ Stokes at the running back. CJ Stokes at the running back spot. And he brings in just a slew of guys. Omega Blake, the wideout from South Carolina. I think this team is way more talented than they've been over the past couple of years, and they continue to build the culture there. And I got them beating JMU in the first game of the season, right? I got them beating Gardner Webb in game 3, right? I think this team is going to nail that over. I think they're going to go bowling. I think it's going to be a bowl team this year. So
for me, this is like the Tulsa play. Like Tulsa won 4 games, their over-runners at 4.5. Charlotte won 3 games last year. Their over-runners at 3.5. All they have to do is win one more game in year 2 compared to year 1. And it's all about quarterback play in the portal. Charlotte had awful quarterback play last year. It's going to be improved this year. The talent they're bringing in year over year is so much better than what they've seen in the Queen City in the past. Last year, they played Maryland and Florida fairly closely. Last year, they took Memphis to overtime. They were competitive. They played competitive football in almost all their games. Year 1, play competitive. Year 2, win more of those close games. It's going to happen.
They're going to push back. They did not play competitive football in almost all of their games. They got whooped a bunch last year.
Okay, but Memphis, a team that is maybe people say is one of the favorites to go to the playoffs. They forced them to overtime.
Yeah.
They were.
That was an impressive outcome.
They were beating Maryland at halftime. They hung in the swamp at Florida.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yes, they had some games where they did not show up. What you would expect from a team that with a first year head coach that was not deep whatsoever. Depth is an issue for year 1. Yeah, I think depth concerns have been addressed via the portal.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. The fact that they are, coached by Biff Poggi and his lineage through Jim Harbaugh and Michigan suggests that they are an upwardly trending team that is being built with a solid foundation. But I think they're still a little while away. Plus, the non-conference slate is not too easy this year. So I am actually on the other side of this. I'm taking the under. You guys are both locking the over?
Yeah.
I think they're a bowl team this year.
Wow.
Physical team that will give them dude, there's like a bunch of Michigan transfers on this team too over the past 2 years. If you look at both years, like this team is just way tougher on the line of scrimmage, and it's continuing to build on that. Another layer of high school talent / transfer portal. And when I look at like some of these finesse teams that they play, I think they're going to be a fucking pain in the ass for them. And, like I said, I think they're going to have 2 wins in the month of September. And I think I'm not going to put it past them to win at Indiana. Like, it's a possible win. They get Rice. It's at Rice, but no one goes to those games, right? ECU, I actually think like that's a scary game for ECU because they do it exactly ECU does, which is like pound the rock and play good defense. So last season was 0-0 going into the 4th, if memory serves me correct. Right. So, and Charlotte ended up pulling out the upset, but, even like the game at Memphis, I think is a dangerous game because Memphis likes to play kind of like finesse ball. And I think the style of play Biff Poggi is building there is going to be a threat for that. They have Tulane and South Florida come to Charlotte, which sucks. You don't want that on the schedule, but I think they can clip one of those teams. UAB is a win to me too. Win. So, yeah.
Look, I mean, the fact that it's only 3.5, the expectations aren't too high. If they can fight in most games and keep some close, then maybe they can come out the victor and enough to get to this over. It just seems like most of the teams on this schedule are better than them. I mean, what team is going to be a dog against Charlotte this year?
Well, for me, again, it's the floor. Well, not the basement, which is Temple, but the floor, the ground floor of the conference moving up, and that's for me. There's teams like Charlotte and Tulsa, and ECU.
Yeah, to me though, like what games? I mean, they're going to be favored to me. UAB, Gardner-Webb, Navy, I would say. And then
on the road, Navy.
They beat Navy last year, and that's where that's where this whole roster's from, is Maryland. So, I mean, I would say the other way. Like, is there like, do we think like I don't know that there's a game that's an automatic loss on this schedule.
At UNC, you don't think is an automatic loss? I think you're being absolutely blinded by Biff Poggi's sleeveless shirt.
His side boob has blinded Colby.
How many games did Virginia win last year?
What, 3?
They beat North Carolina?
Yeah, but they were playing against an ACC schedule.
I just want to read you a stat. I want to read you one stat. I know we got to go, but I'm just saying there's a good stat that Bud Elliott tweeted out about North Carolina. If I could quickly find it, but actually, Nick, do you want to give away another lock?
Sure. All right, that's enough with the overs. I'll give away.
I found it. Hang on. North Carolina is 10-7 as double-digit favorites against the FBS. That's insane. That means he's lost 7 times outright. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Straight up as a double-digit favorite. So
pathetic. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, NC Nick, the floor is yours.
It's one of the teams you mentioned, and let's go with an under after playing 3 or 4 overs. 4 overs. Let's go under 6.5 with UAB. I'm sorry, I just didn't see enough year one to think a 4-8 team is going to jump up to 7-5 and have 3 more wins. I understand the offense started going mid-season. I think Jared Zito, is that his name at quarterback? He looked promising. The defense is bad. Only 4 starters return. And the schedule is a little bit easier than last year too, but there's still 2 sets of back-to-back aways. And, of the 5 teams, again, I'm going to say the same stat like I said with Tulsa, I think. Of the 5 teams with the best odds to win the conference play, they play 4 of them. They only miss UTSA. So I don't see UAB making this big jump. I'm actually shocked that it's at 6.5 right now.
I'll go with you.
I'm just down on that.
Yeah. We got another triple lock with the Blazers. I mean, especially no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but we've never seen him do this in college football. So until he shows me, triple lock UAB on the under. Sorry, welcome UAB.
One more thing too. Of their 4 wins last year, 1 was Temple. Temple's not on the schedule this year. I would probably argue Temple's the only surefire win in the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so bad that everybody else is somewhat competitive. You could argue that, they could be, especially if it's like a road game. So no Temple on the schedule for UAB either.
I mean, I don't even understand. Like, what games will they be favored in? Like, besides the first two, Alcorn State and ULM. Maybe Navy. Yeah, there we go. Shout out to Noah Beanick on the boards. Exactly. That's insane. That's insane. But yeah, what games will they be favored in there? Like, I don't have them
favored against Navy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would probably give Navy a short edge on that. And that Navy whooped their ass last year, didn't they? They won by like 30, I thought.
Maybe ULM or maybe Kenny OU in the chat is right about General Booty, and he's not going to put up with the Blazers coming in to Monroe.
Well, that's, what's interesting about that game is we all thought that Bryant Vincent was going to be the next UAB head coach. He was the interim for Bill Clark. He had waited there and helped build UAB when they didn't have a program. And then they canned him and went for Trent Dilfer after he was 7-6. So I think it's a personal game right there. Now, I mean, obviously I would still favor UAB because ULM's got so many moving pieces, but I have
pretty good running back in Hunter Smith. They got General Booty. They got some pieces.
And I got them like dogs against, like, when they play UConn. I'm kind of high on UConn's roster this year. I got them as a dog against UConn. I got them as a dog against Tulsa. I got them as a dog against Rice. So
I just think if they go 6-6 and win 2 more games than last year, go bowling, that's a win. But it's still the under.
Yeah.
It's still a tall task. What do you think? I mean, comparing last year's non-conference schedule, North Carolina, A&T, that pretty much matches up with Alcorn. That's pretty much their guaranteed win. Their Sun Belt game, Georgia Southern versus ULM, that got easier. Their Power 5 game, Georgia versus at Arkansas, that got slightly easier, but
probably doesn't matter. They're going to lose anyway.
Yeah, and then last year they had, what was their last one?
This year it's
Louisiana.
UConn.
Was it Louisiana versus Army on the road at Army? It's
UConn is the
or UConn rather, yeah. It's slightly harder.
No,
so
I'd say the other conference is slightly easier, but it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, it's not that big of a difference.
PattyC, do you have any other AAC locks?
I do have. Let me see. We touched on UAB on the under. We touched on ECU on the over. We touched. Oh, I've got one. I've got 3 more locks.
Woo. Oh, fire!
I'm very lock happy here. We've already talked about this. We probably don't need to go into too much detail on this. I'm all over Army on the over. I think 6 is ridiculous. I think this team is, if they are indeed reverting back to the triple option, Jeff Monken's program will continue its winning ways. We've talked about how they're not playing South Alabama, or rather Tulane. They're not playing Memphis. They're not playing South Florida, and they are getting Texas San Antonio at home at the end of the season in November. So I think the schedule is very conducive to a like an 8-9 win season, really. So I think Army's gonna smash that over.
I'm with you. I'm just not gonna lock it. I'll say this though.
Same here.
Like, when you're looking for value plays for futures, I placed one on ECU to win the AAC. I think Charlotte is not good enough yet. So, like, Charlotte is a team that I just said could make a bowl, but I don't think they could even get to the championship game. Like, I can't see a world where that happens. Army, I can. Army is, to me, is still a value play. And to me, what's interesting, like you said, the teams they miss is if they do get East Carolina at Mikey Stadium, and UTSA there, there's a shot they could be hosting the game there. And it's on campus in the AAC. This is not a neutral site.
Yeah.
You would have to go to West Point on December 7th.
Any of those teams from the South.
December 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to love when they get UTSA. November 30th, going to be cold as fuck on the Hudson River there. You're right. To me, I do think they probably lose to Tulsa. That's what I thought, or maybe FAU, but those are still 50-50 games to me.
Even if they lose to FAU early on, and you've convinced me that is a serious threat to them, they still have a ton of time to recover and put themselves in position to play in that conference championship game.
And FAU's coming off the Michigan State game, so it's actually kind of a good spot to get them. Nick, you on the over with Army?
Yeah, I'm on the over, but I'm going to sit there with you and not touch it.
All right. I have another lock in the AAC. It's my final lock, and that is the under on Temple. And I believe it's 2.5 wins, right? Unless it's changed. You guys can check this now. But when I did the preview, and like I said, I just I apologize for not being able to. My computer's like even with
minus
PattyC,
140 under 2.5.
Yeah, I think you load up, and if you can even find 2, I think you load up. They do not have an FCS on the schedule, and they lost EJ Warner. Their non-con at Oklahoma, home to Coastal Carolina, home to Utah State, and at UConn. And I have UConn as a bowl team this year, so that's potentially 4 bowl teams right there. I think they're going to lose all of those. I look at this and I say, where's the win? Maybe North Texas at home on November 30th. That's about it.
Maybe Tulsa off the bye.
Maybe even FAU in November, up
but
there.
Dude,
but
they're going to be so much worse. And there's a chance that they fire the coach mid-season. So this is a disaster.
They do benefit from some very long road trips from their opponents, whether that be Utah State, Tulsa, Florida Atlantic, or North Texas. Those are long trips.
But this team, their best players left. I'm telling you, this tenure is over. He's fired. He's fired by the second bye week.
They're a trash ass program. I'm with you. I'm on the under. I'm not locking it. But
I think you have to know. I didn't have this on my sheet here, but I'm gonna agree. I mean, looking at the schedule here, why don't they play an FCS? Why don't you guarantee yourself at least a win? So I'm with you.
This is the Nevada of the East play. I locked Nevada in the Mountain West. Right? It's the same situation. Lock it up. Double lock on the Owls on the under, and I am out of AAC locks. And I don't have many Sunbelt ones, but PattyC or NC Nick, do you have any more AAC plays?
Let me keep it there. I was contemplating to get North Texas under 5.5.
I lean that way too. Yeah.
But I didn't feel great about it. And since I'm picking up the Temple lock, let me remove the lock from North Texas, which I didn't feel great about. So no, I'm good.
PattyC, anything else in the AAC?
Yeah, I do have one. I have a couple, but the main one is a team that you guys, I think, are both on the over on, but I am so hard on the under. This is my lock of the episode, really, and it's Rice on the under. Look, I think Sam Houston improved over the course of last year. I think they have been a better program than Rice for most of the last 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised if they went. That's essentially. They don't. It's not a long road trip. They're both in the same city.
What's that win total? 6.5.
Let me see. Rice is sitting at 6.5.
I think I lean to a 6-6 schedule on the preview, but I didn't lock it because
I just think it's hard, man. Let's give them Sam Houston. Let's give them Texas Southern. At Houston, I have as a loss. At Army, I have as a loss. I'll even give them Charlotte. Look. Hosting UTSA, that's a loss. At Tulane, that's a loss. No, at UConn, that's tricky. But let's give them that. That puts them at 4 wins, right? Hosting Navy and Memphis. All right, let's give them 5. Let's give them one of those two, but they have the road trip to Memphis. Yeah. Let's give them Navy at home, and then at UAB and hosting USF. 1-1 and that at best 6-6 is literally the best case scenario I can see for them.
I'm not going to lock it, but I agree with you because they have to win all those 50-50 games. Like I think Sam Houston's live to win week 1. I think that's a game. I think they're a 9-point dog. They beat Houston last year, but now Willie Fritz is at Houston. I think it's a harder game this year. And then, like you said, some of these other games. Like at UConn, it's kind of a wash to me. I don't know who's winning that game. It's not like an automatic win to me. I'm high on UConn. I think Moore is really building that thing. So I do think you're probably good there. I got him at 6-6, and I think 5-7 is more likely than 7-5.
Huge difference.
I think he's good. I don't love the over. I went back, and this is one of my hardest picks, and I'm staying very far away from this. I think they're either 6-6 or 7-5. I do think EJ Warner is a good quarterback. I think he's going to make that offense go. I think the offense is going to be dangerous, but I could definitely see a 6-6 season. So I'm staying away.
Well, and remember last season they had quarterback injuries, so I actually think like EJ Warner could elevate this team, but that's why I'm staying away. But I still feel like I lean under. But they've been to a couple bowl games. He's built some culture down there. I still lean
Championship
under
game?
though.
Wait,
My
real quick, I got one more, and I'm gonna. Did we already get North Texas on the under?
We considered it, but we decided to stay away.
Okay, well, that's not as the super strongest play, and you know what? I'll stay away from this one too, even though I think it is a decent play. Navy on the under as well. So,
ooh, I like it. Championship game pick for me. I told you, I got my Pirates, and I got my Pirates hosting UTSA. So I got them taking it down. It's to me, it's going to be UTSA or Tulane, whoever, and they don't play. So I don't know that it's the tiebreaker scenario there.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know the tiebreaker scenario. So like, it's either going to be Tulane or UTSA. I don't think it's going to be Memphis. So give me ECU to host a game. And I think if you're hosting in Greenville on December 7th, it's a great spot for ECU.
well, you got to pick one. So is it Tulane or is it UTSA?
Well, since I don't know the tiebreaker, I will say they'll probably go with the highest ranked team. They'll probably go Tulane then. Tulane at ECU, and that'll be a huge advantage for ECU.
All right, for me, this is the conference that I wanted to have some fun with. I didn't want to go chalky here. I'll go chalky with the Sun Belt. Like I said, I think the floor, the middle of the conference is up, the top is down. My championship game, South Florida, who's plus 260 to make the championship game, and Tulsa, who's plus 1800 to make the championship game. I'll have South Florida beating Tulsa to win the conference. USF is plus 650. Tulsa's plus 5,000 to win.
Out of curiosity, who's the home team in that game?
USF.
Tulsa at USF. Okay.
Tulsa has a great track record of winning in Florida. That's an interesting college football deep dive. Is they've fucked up the did they release this? Did they? Oh no, the SEC has released their tiebreakers. I love this final one. The random draw of tied teams. So the SEC released this today.
Could that be a David Stern frozen envelope?
Random draw.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious. Please don't ever get to that. What a hilarious. So their first tiebreaker is head-to-head competition among tied teams, then record versus all common conference opponents among the tied field or the tied teams, record against highest place common conference opponents in conference standings. What is I mean, they're going to run into this problem. It's going to get to at some point. It's going to run into that.
I don't know. That's a pretty deep set of tiebreakers.
Fucking
I think
hilarious.
It's pretty fair. But yeah, I mean, if it does get to that random quote drawing, you can expect Alabama and Georgia to win the lottery every time.
Well, let's jump over to the Sun Belt. Oh no, wait, PattyC, who's your championship game?
I got Tulane at Army. I think.
Who do you got winning that then?
That's a really good question. In my heart, I want Army, but in my mind, Tulane's the far better team, so probably Tulane.
Man, when I think about a team from New Orleans on December 7th playing at Mikey Stadium.
Well, Patty didn't say where the game is going to be, right? Or did you say?
Well, it would be at Mikey. Yeah, I think Tulane probably has 2 losses in conference at the end of the year, but gets themselves into the championship game on Thanksgiving night against Memphis. But they have to go on the road against Army, who had a nice schedule. But I still think they're just probably so much better than Army that they.
That'd be a great game.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump on over to the Sun Belt, which, like I said, I think the Sun Belt's pretty down this year. I've been doing all these previews right now. YouTube.com/The College Experience. When I look around now, this is to me like I think we know the good teams. I think the good teams are Appalachian State and Texas State. I think every other team is a mystery team for the most part. It's very hard to sit there and say, and I was kept taking the unders on all these teams, and I'm like going one by one, and I'm like, well, someone's got to steal these games, right? Someone's got to win these fucking games, right? I mean, you have what 4 or 5 new head coaches. You have Will Hall at Southern Miss, who could get fired at the first or second bye week. You got Clay Helton, who could get fired at the first or second bye week at Georgia Southern. You got Ricky Ronnie, who could get fired at the first or second bye week. You got Butch Jones, who could get fired. So it's like this is a ridiculous conference as far as new coaches and 4 coaches on the hot seat. And then you have just App State and who's rock solid every year. And then Texas State that looks like they're on the come up. It's a fascinating conference to me. My strongest lock is against Kenny OU in the chat. I don't think ULM is going to get to 3 games. So I will lock up the under on ULM at 2.5. That schedule, I think they could lose to Jackson State in the opener. Jackson State is still very talented. And the fact they're bringing in that many new faces, I just don't know if they're there yet. And then even if they got Dilfrey, if they could open up 2-0, then after that, the ULM schedule is fucking insane. They have what? 2 SEC, they have at Texas and at Auburn. They get the best of all the teams there. So like, I think that's the strongest play within the conference is ULM under. NC Nick, you coming?
That's a lot of juice at -160. I'm not coming. I think you're probably right. I think they're going to probably repeat what they did last year and go 2-10. They'll beat Jackson State and find another victory somewhere along the way. But as far as I'm not going to actually bet this with so much. Yeah, like you mentioned, like in this conference, I'm not going to play that many futures just because I think I want to see how it plays out because there's a lot of unknown. So I think it's probably a 2-10 team, but probably good. But I'm going to sit this one out.
All right, we'll give a Patty C. Any interest in jumping on ULM under?
I'm with you. I'm on the under, but I'm not locking. I think the fact that they have home games against Jackson State, UAB, and Southern Miss, those are winnable. I only expect them to get 2 of those 3. Every other game, I expect them to get slapped. So 2-10 is the number, but I am not locking it.
They also have no depth to me. So playing at Texas after like week 3 or 4, you're just like, don't they play like 3 straight away games there? Like that. That's just they get what they get at Texas. Oh yeah, then they get at Troy, and then home to JMU. Body blow, body blow, body blow. I just don't think this is going to work out. The teams they draw. So NC Nick, give me a Sunbelt play.
All right, might as well stick with a team that we think is pretty good. Texas State. Texas State over 8. They could win.
I think you at a year when the conference is down and the way that after year 1 and then they add the player of the year. Not only
is the conference down, but the division, the West, is really down. Like people are saying that like Louisiana or Arkansas State might be the second best team. You know, with all that Troy and South Alabama lost. Texas State from the East, they draw Old Dominion and Georgia State, probably the 2 worst teams from the East. Their schedule at a conference to get UTSA and Arizona State at home. They only play 4 true road games on the season. They have 18 returning starters. What is there not to like here?
I'm with you. I mean, I think that's one of the strongest plays in this play here. So
let me tell you what there's not to like. They have not won more than 7 games in a single regular season since they entered the FBS in 2012. History is what's not to like. Yes, Jordan McLeod is a fantastic quarterback. We all saw that last year when he dominated the division and the conference at JMU. But and I expect them to succeed. I don't think it's a lock on my part but I actually disagree with you. I'm a little skeptical about Texas State, mainly because of their history. But yes, you're right. On paper, this year, a lot of things are working for them in their favor.
Well, if you wanted to poke holes, you could say the second to last regular season game, they gave up 77 points to Arkansas State. So I get it. They're not a surefire thing. But the offense is going to go, and I think the defense will be better this year. They do have a very good defensive line, so that's why I think everything is looking for a good year.
Yeah, I'm all over it. The schedule's nice. I think they could clip you, and they're going to get Arizona State. Like that place is going to burn down that game.
What could they start out at? I mean, they beat Lamar at home.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah,
I think 12-0 is on the table.
It is.
Yeah, I really
fucking
do.
Wild, but that would be amazing.
Well, look who they get from the East, man. First off, Sunbelt's the only conference still with divisions, right? From the East, they get Georgia State, whose coach left like mid-spring practice, right? And a bunch of the team followed, right? They get Old Dominion, right? And what? There's only 2, right? Yeah. There's only 2 in there. Right. So you get who you want to get there. They get their best opponents. Who are the hardest opponents on the schedule? UTSA, Arizona State, and probably Troy. Only one of those are on the road.
How the fuck did they get Arizona State at home? That just spells
on a Thursday night. On a fucking Thursday night, dude. They're gonna win that game. The only thing is it's after the UTSA game, which is a rivalry. So if they did beat UTSA, then maybe they could be asleep a little bit. But
I think they win one of them,
5
and that's
days
all.
later.
That's all you need. That's all you need is to win one of them.
where will they be dogs? I don't even understand how they came up with 8. Troy, I just did the Troy preview the other night. Troy's entire team is gone. Like, I don't even know what to make of Troy. Like, I'm not, they hired Gerard Parker, which is a random hire that has no affiliation with the university. And you're just sitting there like,
If you look at the Sun Belt West, if this was last year or 2 years ago, you would say at Troy, at South Alabama. You're like, oh, damn, that's a brutal in-conference schedule. Not really anymore.
I really should lock them with you guys. You're right. This
Come on board.
Let's go. Triple down.
triple lock on the Texas State Bobcats. What could go wrong? I don't know, Jordan McLeod out for the year or something. But yeah, let's go. Give me that triple lock. I feel pretty good about that. PattyC, you got a Sunbelt play you're locking?
I just switched from 4 overs and 10 unders to 5 overs and 9 unders.
There we
I
go.
do have a lock, and I am surprised of all people that either you or NC Nick, I don't know if you have this as a lock, but this is a definite lock for me. It is App State on the over. 8 wins. This is a very manageable schedule. Yes, there are some hard games, but look, App State has been a great team. They did lose a little bit, but look, they replenish, they reload, and App State's going to get it done.
I think I leaned over on the preview.
Same here.
But I do think there is a case you could build for them to not, like, if they lose to Clemson and it's a body blow and they lose at ECU and you open up 1-2 and you still have Liberty. Now that's a home game against Liberty, but you also go at Marshall.
Liberty. They're a better team than Liberty.
But Marshall's got them last time in Huntington. Dangerous.
Yeah.
And then the Georgia Southern game at the end of the season is always fucking insane. And then Thursday night against Coastal. Yeah.
Not to mention JMU.
I think you're probably good. The thing with App, I like a lot of what they return, except for the O-line. I think they only have one returning starter coming back on the O-line, and that was really the one. That and the tough out of conference schedule was like, you know what? I think they're going to probably be 9-3.
Yeah, I think 9-3 too.
And with it at 8, you're in good shape because I mean, what's more likely, 9-3 or 7-5? So
no,
the worst you
9-3.
do,
yeah,
definitely 9-3. So the worst you do is probably push. So you're in good shape here. I stayed away though.
Yeah, I think those are all of my plays. What was the win total? See, I'm close. I can be talked into a Southern Miss over, but I don't know.
I like Georgia State under 4.5.
Oh yeah, that is a lock. I'm sorry, I did forget that. I forgot that.
It's minus 155, but I mean, this is a team that they went 6-6 last year, but they lost their last 5 regular season games.
Have you seen the schedule?
Yeah. We all know Sean Elliott left. You know, there's a reason why he left to become the tight end and run coordinator coach at South Carolina, who he might be out of a job in 3 months. You know, it's not like he went to a secure, coaching staff. So
this job sucks so bad, I'm going to go to the least secure job I can find.
Have you guys seen this schedule? This schedule.
And while you're pulling that up, I'll say they probably have the worst offensive line in the Sun Belt. Just one returning starter. The D line is questionable too, and there's only one for sure win. Go ahead.
Yeah, the schedule on the road on the second half of the season. This is the most insane schedule. The athletic director should be fired first off, because the fact you get 2 bye weeks between one game. You know what I mean? Like you have a bye week, then you host Georgia Southern, and you have a bye week again. That's fucking horrible. And look at this, PattyC. Look at this road schedule here. Starting on October 17th.
6 weeks.
They spend a month on the road. October 17th at Marshall, which is cold. Loss. Oh, where do they go next? At Boone, which is cold. Loss. Where do they go next? At UConn, which is cold next. Loss. Then at JMU, cold. Loss. What are they doing? What are they doing?
And they come home for one game and then play at Texas State.
Yeah, this is a lock. This actually might be the best one, actually, the more I think about it, because poor Del McGee, you're inheriting nothing. And then the schedule is just insane. Like even Chattanooga is an FCS playoff team. They might go 0-12. They might go 0-12.
It's minus 155, so you got to lay a little bit of juice, but I'm willing to do it because I feel so good about this one.
Shout out to Nyanda in the chat saying, I'm in Florida prison. I appreciate this information. There you go. Best wishes on freedom. Let's go.
Hope that appeal goes well.
Yeah, let's go. PattyC, you joining this lock party with Georgia State under?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
triple lock. Get in there.
I didn't.
What's that?
I think we froze up. I actually didn't lock that one, but I do like it. So that's a
okay.
double lock. Sorry,
Whoops.
guys. Jump the gun.
I
got a couple ones I really.
Okay. Fire away.
I like them, but I'll save them from being locks. Georgia Southern on the over. I think Helton will have that thing going bowling at least this year.
That still could get him fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it gets him bowling. But yeah, you're right. They have higher expectations there. Louisiana on the under. 7.5. That seems pretty high for a program.
And he's a guy that could get fired too. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot like this. It's kind of a messy conference this year.
The last one, did we already touch this one? South Alabama under 6.5. I know Womack had that program really rolling, but I think he is the only coach that ever got them to that level. So, who's it? Gerard Parker taking over?
No. Major Applewhite.
Major Applewhite's taking over. Yeah.
Speaking of Gerard Parker, though, Troy under 6.5 is also a little appealing. I was on the fence there, but kind of in the same vein as South Bama.
Nick, are you fresh out?
Yeah. I mean, I had two really good plays. I was on the fence with Troy, so you know what? I'll probably just keep it with those two good plays with Georgia State and Texas Southern. Georgia State and Texas State.
I wanted to address one thing before we headed out, and that was Memphis. Michael saying currently catching up. If all of us don't have Memphis in the AAC Championship game, why don't we have them on the under? What is their win total right now? Since I can't move my computer,
I have them at 10-2, but not in the conference championship game because I think Tulane beats them on the last game of the regular season, and I think Army's schedule allows them to go like 7-1 in conference and get in the conference championship game themselves.
So Memphis is at 9, and your over is plus 120. The under is minus 140.
See, I lean under here because look at their road schedule at Florida State. After that Florida State one, which you're getting Navy, which I know they've gotten Navy's number lately, but I think that's if you're Navy, you're like, I want them after Florida State. Then they're at South Florida, who's a contender, at Tulane is a contender, and at UTSA. So it's like their toughest games are all on the road. That's why I lean under, but I don't love that.
But also, I mean, they're the favorite to win the AAC, so that's why I'm not picking them to win it. I mean, if I'm going to make a bet on the AAC, then that's one conference where I want to take a long shot.
Yeah.
Could Memphis win it? Of course. I mean, that's why they're the favorite. I just think I think the AAC could be a little wacky this year.
Yeah, folks, that's our show. Friday we'll be back.
Belt winners.
Oh yeah, that's right. I always forget that.
I got you covered. For me, I'll go first. I'm going chalky as hell here. I'm going App State versus Texas State. Division winner, App State's plus 130. Texas State division winner plus 220. I've already made that bet. I think they're going to win the Sun Belt West at plus 220.
Oh, love it.
Sign me up.
And they'd be hosting, right? They'd be hosting App State.
Well, I think it's who has the best. How do they determine that? The best conference record?
I think so, and I think they have an easier route. That's why I think they'll be hosting.
To win the conference, App is plus 275. Texas State's plus 400. Again, I kind of like Texas State there. To make the playoffs, App is plus 1,000. Texas State plus 1,200. You know, so but I have App versus Texas State. I'll say Texas State wins it.
It's going to be great when Texas State makes the 12-team playoff before Texas. I have App and Texas State playing in the championship game. I have Texas State winning too because I have them hosting. If it's at App, they're losing. If they're hosting, which I think they will, I got them winning there in front of their crowd in San Marcos. PattyC.
I got Tulane at wait.
No.
Sun Belt. Why am I all over the place? Conference championship game. I have. Why didn't I not write this down?
Give me someone crazy here. Don't go chalk here. Somebody's got to pick like
JMU Southern Miss.
Well, you guys got me to lock Texas State on the over. I should take JMU. I will take JMU. Fuck it. Because we owe App State some payback. So I'm going to take JMU, and I guess Texas State is the team du jour here. So JMU over Texas State in the conference championship game.
All
There
right.
we go,
Like
folks. That's our show. Friday, we're back with the finals. We got just the win totals for the CUSA, the MAC, and the Independents. All right, so get on over there. All right, give PattyC a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. NC Nicks on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. On Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Till next time, folks, this is the college football experience. Shout out to Noah doing great work behind the scenes. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can get it, run and shoot.